I've had conversations with a few friends in the past week or two about the whole workism stuff that we were talking to Paul about.
Yeah, same.
And I found it's been quite interesting. I think one sort of pattern that I've seen is that when I'm having these conversations, people tend to sort of assume that I'm saying all aspects. Well, actually, I think one big thing is like everyone seems to have a different definition of work, and so most people's default definition seems to be that work is basically anything apart from like sitting on the couch. You know, like if you're not basically doing nothing, you're doing work. For example, if you're like writing a blog, you're doing work.
Recording this podcast is work.
This would be like work or whatever. And so I think in these discussions, it's helpful to actually kind of define the terms a little bit. I guess I just sort of assume that, I'm in my own bubble of, reading about this stuff and thinking about this stuff, where it seems to me that that's not a meaningful definition of work.
Okay, so how are you defining work?
Sorry?
How are you defining work then? Because that's one thing I've actually been thinking about, like, what is work? But I feel like I've less in a kind of semantic context and more in a holistic kind of philosophical sense.
I think it's helpful to have some like money part of it. It's something that you're doing at least in part in order to make money. I think that's important because it implies a little bit of a lack of agency. Like, everyone broadly needs to make money somehow. And so if you were thinking about, how would I most want to be spending my time? You don't get to do that because you need to spend some of your time somehow making some money, right? And so I think that's a meaningful component of it. Like work is probably something that you are doing in part in order to make money.
So for example, if you were to imagine your ideal life, assuming money was no object, and then look at your life, assuming money is some kind of object, work is that difference between the two things.
Yeah. I'm not trying to lay down any hard boundaries here. I'm more trying to just like approximate the space. But I think there's a money component.
So this is what Vicki Robbin says in the book, Your Money or Your Life. Have you read this?
No.
I think you should. Like, you would enjoy it, especially now that you're into the workism stuff. The framing of the book is more that it's like a sort of guide to personal finance, but a lot of the comments that she makes at the start are very much about this workism stuff. And her argument is that the only thing that defines work is the fact that you're making money from it. And that is therefore the definition of work. It's that thing that you're doing for the money. She says that a lot of us like to define work in other ways, like, that thing that I get meaning from, that thing that I get social interaction from, and that thing that gives me a challenge, an intellectual challenge and whatnot. And she says that you can get all of those things from non-work activities. Yeah. And therefore, the thing that actually defines work is what are you doing to make money?
Yeah. To be honest, I disagree with that actually now that I think about it. I think the salient aspect of the money thing is that it comes back to the lack of complete agency. Not the complete lack of agency, but the lack of complete agency. Like, to some extent, you have to do something to make money. And so it kind of narrows your options down. And so like, you won't be like 100% doing a work thing completely out of choice. And I think there are also like non-monetary things that you still have to do out of, that you're obligated to do. Which will feel like work, and I think which
like taking out the trash and stuff.
Depends how you view taking out the trash, but I'm thinking more significant things. Like, for example, let's say you have like a family member that's like really unwell, and you have to care for them for like many hours a day. Okay, I think that would be reasonably considered work, and I think the reason for that is the lack of agency. Like, you basically have to do this thing. Right.